Thanks, Christian. We're wearing the same shirt today to make it extra difficult to differentiate us. I'm happy to now tell you a little bit more about what we've been working on in the last 3 months since our last Insider event. As you can imagine, a lot of new functionality is centered around AI. We've added new agentic functionality to our two core pillars, outbound and ABM. I'm going to start with our research agent, which is the functionality I'm personally most excited about. With the research agent, you can identify tailored insights for the companies that matter to you. It helps you identify any signals on those companies, as well as any data points about these companies that matter to you. That information can then be used to either prioritize that account in the outreach or to use those data points for more personalization of the emails. The research agent can be found in your signals. If you add a new research agent, first you can select which companies and which report you want to run the research on. And then you can ask any prompt you can think of. For example, let's assume we're having an event in London and I want to find out which companies have an office in London so that I can invite them to the event. Does this company have an office in London? And then I can add for any other data points I might be interested in. In this case, just to show it, I'm asking for the address. If yes, please provide the address. We can now either let the prompt and AI decide on what answer format it will use and what data points it will return, or I could also add a custom answer format. In this case, I will let AI decide. We will now run a preview of this prompt so that you can see if the prompt is good and if the information that is returned is what you're looking for. I've used a very short prompt here, but you can use very long prompts with additional detailed information about what the agent should do. If you already have a prompt somewhere, you can now add that prompt also to UserGems and let us automatically collect that information. As we can see, it already started with the preview for 10 of the companies in our list. At first, it queried our internal database, but then it also started a Google search for Venter. So it Googled for Venter London office address. It found a website that it considered important to answer the question, and therefore it is currently scraping this website. For Vocado, we already found the answer. Yes, they do have an office, and this is the address. For Honeycomb, it searched for London office. It checked out a couple of websites. Apparently, it wasn't happy with the results yet, so it sent out another Google search. But ultimately, it came to the conclusion, no, they do not have an office in London. Some other companies in the list do have an office, and now we could use that information to reach out to the companies and invite them to our event. Here, it's checking many different websites just to make sure that it verifies the information. Ultimately, with the response of the data agent, you can and should check if your prompt is correct. However, we're also at the end of the preview, we are also sending an evaluation to AI to see if we think that the prompt is good and if it should be changed or not. In this case, it has an overall score of 0.87, and the summary is, yes, the prompt is clear and it works. There's some recommendation, but overall, it works. Our next functionality are account and contact insights. And this functionality lives wherever you are. This means we have it on UserGems, but we also show it in your CRM or in your SCP through our Chrome extension. A quick reminder for those that don't know, UserGems also has a Chrome extension, and it looks like this. So here, for example, I'm in Outreach. I'm looking at the account Birdeye, and on the right, I can see the information the Chrome extension provides. I can see all the information we have about Bird Eye, all the reasons to engage. I can see people I was in touch with or people I haven't yet engaged. And I can also see the deal intel. And we provide that deal intel by analyzing all past calls and all past emails and show you the most important information. However, sometimes a summary of that information is not enough. And for this reason, we now added Ask Jemmy. And this gives you the possibility to get additional insights on the company and on the contacts. For example, I can ask, give me a brief summary about the company. Now analyzed all the information that we have about the company, what's the grade, why have we picked this company, and any next actions that we should do. In this case, I want to know who are people I haven't contacted yet. Here are some uncontacted prospects. In this case, I can now ask it to draft me an email to one of these people. Draft an email to. For this email, it will now also use all the company and all the contact information we have, and will also use the general Jemmy instructions for the email writing, as well as all content you've already uploaded, so that you get the very best email. It now drafted an email for me, referencing some data points that we specified in the Jemmy instructions, and it also added a description as to why that email works. The best thing about these contact and company insights is that we're not only offering it through our Chrome extension. Starting next month, we will provide that same information through an MCP, so that you can use all the information that we have collected directly in your AI tools. Our next functionality is the orchestration agent. Our orchestration agent can automatically create or update your campaigns with the help of a prompt. Ultimately, the goal is that it doesn't just create the campaign based on a prompt you provide, but rather that it analyzes your campaigns, makes suggestions about how to improve them, or even tells you about campaigns you're currently not running that would make sense. And you can then, with the click of a button, ask it to create these campaigns for you. Let me show you how it works. We're here in an empty campaign. If I start the Jemmy Copilot, I can ask, I want to reach out to past closed one-up contacts that now work at target accounts and joined in the last 12 months. Please add them to Salesforce and also add them to the outreach campaign AI SDR. It will now start by checking if it can find the outreach campaign, and then it will create the audience as I've described here, and then also add the add to Salesforce step as well as the add to outreach step. As you can see, it now already created a campaign name. As a next step, it will create the audience for us. Then it will add the individual steps for the outbound flow. So now we have the outbound flow started, and it decided that that campaign should run daily with a limit of 5 per company and month and up to 100 contacts per day. It now told me, okay, I'm done. Please check the schedule and the limits, as well as it notices that I didn't generate AI messages, and it asked me if I wanted to add them. In this case, I want to change the people to 10 per company a month. It will now go into this action or this setting and will change this number from 5 to 10, as you will see shortly. Now it's updated to 10. It highlights also that it has 100 total limits of contacts per day. And with this, I'm happy to show you the first functionality for our ABM pillar. We've now created the option to coordinate your sales and marketing efforts by enabling you to advertise to the very same people that you are sending emails to. The way this works is that every campaign now has an outbound arm and a marketing arm. And this means the very same people that you've defined in your audience will run through the outbound arm. They will be added to Salesforce, for example. They will be added to Sequence, but they will also run through the marketing agent. If we go back to the campaign, we can enable the marketing branch simply by clicking here. It then asks us if we want a different schedule for the advertising part of the campaign. And interestingly, I can also set different limits. For example, in outbound, I only want to reach out to 10 people per company per month. But I already want to advertise to all the people so that they are already familiar with me through ads when I sent them the very first email. This also directly brings us to the next functionality. As you might have heard in our last Insider event, we are now supporting adding contacts to a LinkedIn campaign. The ultimate idea is to reach out to the very same people and show them ads. Since then, we've also added with support for other platforms. That means we're now not only supporting LinkedIn, we're also supporting Meta and Google. And in this case, the advertising is not based on the company, but rather on the contact for a higher metric. Isaac will tell you a little bit more about this functionality. I can briefly show you how it looks in the platform. So as mentioned, in our marketing arm, we can add sync to LinkedIn audience. We can add sync to Meta audience, as well as sync to Google Ads audience. This means the very same people based on our audience will now receive a message because they're added to the outreach sequence, but they will also see our ads. Last but not least, I'm happy to talk about our buying stages and time progression. With this functionality, we map every account to its respective buying stage. And we do this by using both all the contact information, all the company information we have available. Just like our regular account scoring, it is transparent and customizable. This means we tell you in what stage a certain account is and why we added that company to this stage. It also lets you adjust every individual factor in case you consider a certain factor more or less important. Let me show you how this looks like. This is how the buying stages might look like. In this case, for example, we have Tipalti, and it has an account score of A, and it is in the buying stage consideration. And the reasons why we added it into the buying stages consideration is because they're website visitors from the company. They are part of a UserGems event, and they opened, for example, some marketing emails in the last 90 days. The buying stages also shows you the TAM progression. That means you know how many companies moved from one stage to the next, and you therefore can see if your marketing activities are working. It also helps you identify net new accounts because we highlight which of these accounts are not in your CRM yet.